Suicide Pact?
Sure.
Cool. Welcome to the Iconoblast podcast. This is the show that takes a look behind the public facades of famous icons to show you why you can never take anything at face value. My name is Cooper, and across from me, wearing those sweet-ass sunglasses, is the one and only Joel R. Benner. So I was already saying before we started that I might be talking a little funny today. I'm trying not to. That's because I had 2 teeth ripped out of my head a couple days ago, and I'm still getting used to talking without.
Your face actually looks a little crooked now.
No, it's always been crooked. But
this side hangs down?
No, that's because I had a stroke. I don't think the dentist that I went to was that good.
Iconoblast! We put the past on blast! Hit 'em with the truth, with things you never knew. Nobody is safe, no thing to place. Got Joel and Coop with history in your face. Iconoblast!
The Iconoblast podcast, presented by GhostBed.com. When I was around 10 years old, I fell off a 45-foot cliff and knocked myself out.
That's what made you the man you are today.
To be perfectly honest, yeah. All of my problems started after that because it's pretty much guaranteed that I got a traumatic brain injury. But I was living in a backwoods town at the time. Shout out to Burns, Oregon. For
helped
having
you fit in.
Yeah, no, no, I had more teeth back then. If it would have knocked some teeth out, then I would have fit in more.
Getting knocked out sucks.
I don't remember it. I don't remember anything about falling. Well, I remember being at the top of the cliff, and I remember my foot slipping, and then I remember waking up, and all of my friends were standing around me, and one of them was crying, and then the first thing that I hear after I wake up from getting knocked out, like I still haven't even fully realized what happened at that point.
Yeah, no idea.
And he was one of my younger friends. He was like maybe 8 years old at the time. He's just sitting there sobbing, and he looks at me, and I've got, blood all over the place. I'm fucked up real bad.
Your head was just pouring blood?
I had blood coming down from my hairline, and I had blood coming out of my mouth because I had bit the inside of my cheek really bad. Amazingly enough, didn't break any bones. I mean, I definitely...
How old are you?
I was like probably around 10 years old.
Yeah.
Like 10 or 11 years old or something like that.
Little kids are fucking invincible, dude.
I got grounded for it.
You should have.
Yeah.
What are you doing climbing cliffs?
Me and my friends went out to hike in this place called Switch Canyon that's just outside of my hometown.
Yeah.
And it's filled with rim rocks. Rim rocks are just like, geological feature. Cliffs. I'll just call them cliffs. It's easier that way. But before we went out there, I had to beg and plead my mom to let me go.
Yeah.
And finally she agreed to let me go. But before I left, she was like, do not climb around on any of those cliffs. I was like, okay, I promise I won't. Then
you did. 6
hours later, she's picking me up and taking me to the hospital. But yeah, as soon as I woke up at the bottom of the cliff, and I remember thinking like, I was just at the top of this cliff. What happened?
Naughty Coop.
And this...
You would have listened to your mom, you wouldn't be disabled right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that my mom told me that I should have listened to. I didn't start listening to my parents until I was in my 30s.
I'm the same.
And I'm doing better. But I wake up laying at the bottom of the...
That's fucking hilarious.
Laying at the bottom of the canyon, and I'm looking around. My friends are all standing around me looking concerned, and I still don't know what happened at that point because I'm just waking up from getting knocked the fuck out. And I look over to the youngest kid in the group, and he's just sobbing. And he looks right at me and he goes, "You're gonna die." I was like, "Oh shit, this must be really bad."
He said that to you.
Yeah, just looked right at me. And then immediately after that,
"You were gonna die." But upset, not like picking on
no,
you.
he was like, he
Dead
was
serious.
sobbing. He was terrified because he thought I was gonna die. When he said, like, I thought that my brains are hanging out of my head or something.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't really thinking anything at that point. I was still trying to figure out, like, why is everybody so freaked out and how did I get here?
You got something in your mustache again. Same spot.
Okay, same spot. I've been eating a lot of soup lately because I'm missing 2 teeth. I can't chew anything. I'm either like
How long do you have to have soup for? Till they heal?
Well, until they heal, but then I'm still not going to be able to chew because, dude.
You have to get the next part of
I have to get a bridge, and that's going to cost over $5,000, and I sure as shit don't have that kind of money laying around. So
and no dental insurance.
Yeah. Apparently, teeth are a luxury, not a right.
And even if you got insurance, it's a It's a
pre-existing
condition situation.
I think they would probably cover it.
Assholes.
From the research that I've been doing, it seems like the cheapest option for getting them fixed is actually flying to Turkey and getting them fixed by dentists there, because getting the bridge that I need, so it's about $5,400 to get it done at any of the dentists here in Austin.
Yeah.
Because it was 2 teeth that was removed, so they have to make a bridge for 2 teeth. But if I were to go to Turkey, $105.
And $1,000 to get there.
Yeah, I looked up tickets. I think the cheapest one that I was able to find was like just under $900.
Oh, nice. They're still cheap to go there.
But then, you still got to pay for room and board. And
that ain't nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that. Honestly, that's the cheapest option. I have to fly to
you can get an Airbnb
to Istanbul to get a bridge, and it's still cheaper than doing it in America.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Still seems sketchy, but from the research I've been doing, apparently they have some really good dentists over there. It's a popular destination for medical tourism, which I didn't even realize medical tourism was a thing.
I would go if I were you. You can get an Airbnb there for like $14.
You know what? I'm only staying at an Airbnb if it has a ghost bed. The Iconoblast podcast is brought to you by ghostbed.com/Drinkin' Bros. Ghostbed has been a loyal sponsor of the Drinkin' Bros for 5 years now, and everyone here in the studio loves them.
That was your best fucking transition to date.
I'm getting a little better at it.
It was your first good one.
Yeah, honestly, it was. Ghostbed makes high-quality mattresses right here in the good old USA, and each mattress comes with a 20-year warranty. You can try a Ghostbed mattress for 101 nights, and if you're not completely satisfied, you can return it, no questions asked. It is really weird talking without these teeth.
Is it?
Yeah, just...
You sound fine so far. You haven't fucked up yet.
Well, I'm actively trying to control the position of my tongue so I don't sound weird. I've actually been practicing for the last couple days because, you heard me right after I first got it done. It sounded like I had a stroke.
I thought you did have a stroke.
Well, I did, but a different kind.
You stroked it before
I
you
had
went
to
to
take
the
care of
dentist.
my nerves before I went to the dentist because I was nervous going in there. Their mattresses and pillows have cooling technology to keep you cool on those hot, sweaty nights. Ghostbed also offers an adjustable base that's best in class and costs less than the competition. The adjustable base has 15 massage modes, 0 gravity, and tons of other great features. You can buy a mattress for about $35 a month. They have no money down, 0% APR financing. Right now, Ghostbed is offering a flash sale where you can get 40% off when you buy a mattress and adjustable base, or 30% off everything when you use the promo code DrinkinBros. Head over to ghostbed.com/DrinkinBros to take advantage of all their awesome deals. That's ghostbed.com/DrinkinBros. Ghostbed. Sleep so good, it's scary. I don't know how I'm going to follow up that transition. The rest of the episode is going to seem lame in comparison.
Yeah,
we're talking about somebody pretty fucking awesome today.
Yeah, I'm excited about this.
This is an episode I've been wanting to do for a little while. The last episode talking about Floyd Mayweather,
that was a super blast. So now we're gonna do a super boost.
Yeah,
Iconoboost.
An Iconoboost. I dislike Floyd Mayweather so much that I had to get shit-faced drunk to do the episode, and boy, did I get shit-faced drunk.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I was saying, we're going to be talking about Roy Benavidez today, and we were originally going to do this episode with Dakota Meyer, but we found a better topic to do a show with him on.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say what it is yet. It'll be coming up a couple weeks from now.
Yeah.
But it should be a good episode if everything goes as planned.
Fuck yeah.
So you don't know anything about
I know
Roy
absolutely
Benavidez?
Nothing about him. That's what I'm excited about.
This is going to be fun because this guy, the last episode that we did like this, because we plan on periodically doing episodes about either Medal of Honor recipients or just people that
deserve some attention that don't have the attention.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Deserve,
people that should be much more famous and celebrated than they currently are.
Right.
Because I dare say, well, in our listener base, there's probably quite a few people who know about Roy Benavidez.
Yeah.
In the general public, not many people have
any
idea who he is. And he's fucking Rambo. He's real life Rambo.
That's awesome.
But he's better than Rambo because he didn't shoot up a small town. But, Rambo was a kind of...
That was way later, and he didn't kill anybody.
Well, no, he kills one person in the entire first movie. Isn't it just... Well, he only kills one, right?
I think... Doesn't he kill everyone that's chasing him? He doesn't kill the civilians.
I thought that he only killed the guy in the helicopter, and it was on accident.
He was defending himself.
Yeah.
He drew first blood! Whatever the hell he says.
All right, so
he doesn't kill him one at a time in that? I don't remember. How can I not remember?
I don't think so. I think the first Rambo.
It's been a long time since I've. He just injures and wounds everybody.
Yeah, Yeah, he's using guerrilla warfare.
He lets them all live?
Not all of them. I think the only person that
The one that he shoots back at.
I think he like...
He throws a rock and he falls
the guy
out
in
of
the helicopter. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the only person that he directly kills. I mean, that's even indirect. Because he just threw a rock and then the helicopter kind of swerved around and then he fell. I need to watch it again. I haven't seen it
It's
since
a
I was
great movie.
real
Dude, the
young.
book's even better.
You were telling me about that. I never read the book.
You should read. You could probably read it in like 2 days. It's not very long. It's
Super short.
It's super.
I
good,
remember
though.
I read
the ending in the book is so much.
I read
different. It's fucking awesome.
I read some excerpts from it at some point. Did we do that on one of the earlier episodes, or was that before we started recording an episode?
I don't think so. That would be a good book to read an hour of.
Story time.
Yeah, we got to start doing story time with Coop. Bonus episodes.
We'll do some Iconoblast story time bonus episodes.
Dude, in the book, the biggest difference is you spend a lot more time with the cop that's in the movie, and in the book he's way sweeter.
That's the one played by Brian Dennehy?
Yeah, it's the same guy, like the perfectly casted from the book, except in the movie you don't really get to learn his history because he's like an old war veteran too in the book, and you realize he's older and washed up and doesn't have the skills like he used to, but he admires Rambo, and then also is like, I still got it. And there's a lot of time in his head you spend where he's like, I can still do this shit. I still got this. And the reason why he's so determined to chase him and hunt him down is because he's trying to prove to himself that he's still worth it.
Yeah, that he's still got that.
He still
fire.
got it. Yeah,
still got a little something left in the basement.
And he's way fucking cool. And the ending in the book is completely different than the movie. It's like it's like a showdown between the two of them at the end.
Oh, really? Have you ever
like
seen
hand to hand shit, and like Rambo's covered in bullet holes, and they like fall over a fence and go through here and go through there, and it's like it's such a better ending. I wish they would have done the ending in the book. I thought was way fucking cooler.
Have you ever seen?
I mean, the movie ending is good.
The original ending that they shot for First Blood,
yeah,
where the commander comes in and kills Rambo.
Yeah,
yeah, they use that as a flashback in like
they show that
Rambo
deleted
4
scene
or
in
something.
In 4, yeah. That would have been a better ending too.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have been able to do the later movies after that.
True.
I think that's specifically why they didn't do the ending that way, is because they were like,
if this
make
blows
some
up,
sequels that have nothing to do with the original movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the original movie kind of had an anti-war stance to it, and the rest of the Rambo series is very pro-war.
It's still Rambo was still anti-war,
Rambo himself
but he had to go to war to be anti-war.
Yeah.
Because in the second one, it's like the village where he was tortured at that he has to go back and free some other
save the POWs.
Slaves and, POWs. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it
Murdoch
fighting for?
That's what he says, Murdoch, all the time, and then shoots up the military tent at the end.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the original trilogy in a long fucking time.
I've watched the first and second one a lot, and then actually my favorite one is the fourth one.
Mine too.
It's fucking awesome. It's so goddamn.
The fifth
violent.
one was good. The fifth one is when he goes against
good. That one's
the cartel,
the newest
right?
one. Yeah, Last Blood.
Last Blood. That's right.
Yeah, I want to watch the extended director's cut because Stallone publicly talked about it and was like, "This was the movie that I wanted to make," and apparently it's got like 20 or 30 more minutes of shit in it and
people getting shot by 50
probably
cows.
Yeah,
20 to 30 more minutes of just pure
Last
gore.
Last Blood. Yeah, Last Blood. Yeah, so I really want to watch that again.
Yeah, I do think that
I liked it, but the fourth one I think is the best. First one is the most realistic drama that is actually a good movie.
Yeah,
the rest are all action films.
The fourth one is the best Rambo movie.
Yeah,
the first one is the best movie. The fourth one is the best Rambo.
There you
movie.
go. That's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
So let's talk about who is arguably the inspiration
real
for
Rambo. Yeah.
Raul Perez Benavidez joined the Texas Army National Guard in 1952. Don't hold that against him. I mean, National Guard, that's Army also. We made fun of the National Guard a lot when I was in the Army, but that's okay. He received his first taste of combat in Korea during the final years of the Korean War, and after returning home, he signed up for active duty in 1955. Upon completing airborne training in 1959, he was assigned to the 82nd Airborne at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. During the 1960s, a scuffle broke out in Southeast Asia in a country called Vietnam. Vietnam wasn't a place many people wanted to go in the 1960s, but that's exactly where Roy was sent in 1965.
Roy.
Probably one of the
Rambo.
Worst years to go there.
It's close to Rambo.
Rambo, yeah. It was during this deployment that Roy had his first brush with death. There's so many crazy moments to this guy's life, and this first one, I think, would be enough to have us do an episode about him.
Really?
Roy was given a top-secret mission to prove that the NVA were disguising themselves as Viet Cong. The mission required him to dress as a Viet Cong guerrilla and go on patrol outside of the wire, and he had to do it all by himself.
You told me this.
So he's in Vietnam, dressed as a VC, patrolling outside the wire by himself.
Fuck that, dude.
Yeah, he's either going to get killed by the Viet Cong or he's going to get killed by his own troops because it's a secret mission. While on patrol, Roy was caught in an explosion.
And was he trained? Like, did they train him in like spec ops and stuff?
Well, that's the weird thing.
Or they were just like, any, mini, miny. You look the most Vietnamese.
Like, oh, you're Mexican. That's close to Vietnamese. Yeah,
that's probably what it was.
Let's put you in some black pajamas and give you one of those cone hats and an AK-47. Spitting image of a VC.
Yeah. And what you're going to do is walk around the perimeter and look for bad guys.
Yeah, go and try to find some VC and then ask them if they have any NVA. I would really like to have more details about that. Because
how did he get picked for that job?
Because he wasn't, from my understanding,
he was just through basic training and
well, he went through 82nd Airborne. He was airborne at that point, but he wasn't like, I mean, they didn't have Delta Force back then, but it wasn't like he was a Delta Force operative. He wasn't part of.
Was he top of his class?
Oh fuck! Roy Benavidez was top of everything that he ever did.
Okay,
so I'm sure
maybe he was just the best already, and they knew.
Yeah, and he was brown, so they were like, "Yeah, close enough."
It was because he was brown.
Probably.
Okay.
Racist on multiple levels.
Well, no,
like,
I mean,
it's either they don't care if he dies because he's brown, or it's like, oh, all you brown people look the same, so we're just going to send you. You'll fool the VC.
Well, it's closer.
It is, but
like from a distance, if it was a white person, you could tell from a mile away.
Yeah, true. But the facial features, so he was half Mexican, half Yaqui Indian, I think. So he definitely didn't look as white as some of the other people that he was serving with. So from a distance, but once you got up close, you're not going to mistake him for being Vietnamese. While on patrol, Roy was caught in an explosion. Some sources say he stepped on a landmine, and others say he was hit by a grenade. But really, I've never been blown up myself, but I have a feeling that when you're the one being blown up, the source of the explosion doesn't really matter. It's the fact that you're getting blown up that kind of matters.
True.
Shrapnel shredded both of his legs and damaged his spine, and the pressure of the blast gave him a concussion. Roy was severely injured, unconscious, and all alone. The secrecy of his mission and the fact that he was alone meant there wasn't anyone to evacuate him or provide first aid. He laid there for some time before a Marine patrol stumbled across his body.
Fuck.
At first, they assumed it was a booby trap until they flipped him over and found his dog tags. Roy was evacuated and sent to the U.S. for medical treatment.
Thank God they even looked at him.
Yeah, because
if he looks like the enemy.
Yeah,
face down.
So either if they think that it's a booby trap, I don't know how common it was during the Vietnam War for them to do this, but I know that in Iraq and Afghanistan, one of the safer ways to deal with something that you think might be an explosive or a booby trap of some sort is to just blow it up from a distance. So, I mean, there
was a chance they would have
they could have just backed off about 150 yards, fucking launched a grenade out of an M79.
See what happens.
Okay, well, it didn't blow up, so I guess it wasn't a booby trap.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and it blows me away that he's out there alone. He gets injured. I mean, it's dumb luck that he was found.
True. Unless it was a grenade by the people that found him, and they kept it on the down low.
Oh, they thought that he was a VC.
They thought he was a VC, threw a grenade on him.
They chucked a grenade
got
at
him. They got close, and they're like,
oh, shit.
Oh, fuck.
This guy kind of looks Mexican.
Oh,
then they
fuck.
flip him
It's
over
Roy.
Oh, fuck. We just blew up. Dude, if he survives, he's going to be so
everyone,
pissed.
Let's talk about this. He didn't see us. He doesn't know it was us. We found him after. We all got the same story. All right, let's head back.
Okay, and let's send him send him to a fire base,
It's
20 or 30 miles from here. So when he does wake up, he has no idea that we were any part of this because he will fucking track us down and kill us.
All of us. He's the best.
He was known across all of Vietnam as being one mean son of a bitch. At Fort Sam Houston, the doctors told Roy he would never walk again and that he would be medically discharged from the Army. Roy didn't like either one of those options, so he decided that not only was he going to walk again, he was going to go back to Vietnam.
Oh, shit.
Somewhere that not many people wanted to be at that time. He already got fucked up there once. But, so, learning to walk again, that's one thing. I feel like anybody would want to do that. Learning to walk again and then wanting to go right back.
And then wanting to kill.
Yeah.
Wanting to fight for your country.
Go back and fight. I mean, honestly, he was probably pissed off that somebody blew him up. He's like, no, I'm going to walk and I'm going to go back over there. I'm going to find the assholes that blew me up and I'm going to fucking kill them.
Oh, fuck. And they're all right there. And they're all like, fuck, he's going to walk. No, don't. Tell him he'll never walk. Tell him he'll never walk again.
While in the hospital, Roy began a nightly ritual. He would climb out of bed and using only his elbows and chin, he would crawl to a nearby wall. He would then prop himself up on the wall and repeatedly attempt to stand. The pain was obviously excruciating. For months, Roy continued his self-administered physical therapy, which he admitted would often leave him in tears. Against all odds, in July of 1966, Roy walked out of the hospital.
Holy shit.
After the doctors had told him he wasn't going to walk. They also told him that he was getting medically discharged from the Army, but we're about to find out that sure as shit wasn't true. After recovering, Roy was told he would be given a desk job back at Fort Bragg. He wasn't about to settle for a desk job. He wasn't even going to settle for going back into the airborne. He began training and eventually qualified for the 5th Special Forces Group, more commonly known as the Green Berets. This guy is...
What a G, dude.
He's fucking amazing. So he gets blown up in Vietnam. The doctors tell him he's never going to walk again and that he's going to get medically discharged from the Army.
Says, fuck you.
Puts himself through his own
therapy.
Self-administered physical therapy.
Every day.
And then not only...
Making himself cry and shit.
Yeah, not only
and when
goes
you're that
back
tough,
into
you don't cry.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that... Well, no, I'm not surprised that he admitted to crying because he's so fucking tough.
That's how tough
Who's going to call him a pussy?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Didn't even cross my mind.
He can cry as much as he wants, and everybody's going to be like, he's got a good goddamn reason to cry, whatever he's crying about. So yeah,
it wasn't the pain that made him cry. It was the
anger. He's like, I need to get better so I can kill these motherfuckers.
Yeah, he was crying about how long it was going to take to recover.
Well,
and how long it would take to get revenge.
Actually, no, I don't want to disrespect him by saying that he wanted to go back over there to kill. Because, as we'll find out later, what he cared about more than anything was his fellow soldiers. More than literally anything. And I think
he wanted to be out there keeping his other men alive.
Yeah, he wanted to be over there to back up his boys and keep them safe.
Oh, fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's a beast. By January of 1968, Roy was back in Vietnam. Roy earned a reputation as one tough motherfucker. His teammates referred to him by the call sign Tango Mike Mike, which is short for That Mean Mexican.
Holy shit, that's fucking awesome.
And they obviously said that with love, because if they were making fun of him, they would have been getting medically discharged from the military. Mm. He would have broken their goddamn legs.
He probably loved it.
Oh yeah, like I can't...
The Mean Mexican?
That Mean Mexican.
That Mean Mexican.
Tango Mike Mike. I mean, even in the Special Forces, so he was part of MAC-VSOG, which was the... Ah, fuck. I hope people are making fun of me in the premiere right now for not being able to remember this. It's the... fuck. Somebody in the premiere type out what MAC-VSOG stands for. I'd appreciate it. I'm sure that either Ruben or Jake is probably going to answer that first. Let's see who wins. 4 months after returning to Vietnam, on May 2nd, 1968, Roy was attending a church service when he overheard a call for help over the radio. A Special Forces patrol consisting of 3 of Roy's close friends and 9 Montagnard tribesmen had been surrounded by a battalion of NVA infantry.
Oh, shit.
It was 12 men fighting against 1,000.
Fuck.
Roy decided he was going to go even the odds. 3 helicopters were sent to extract the men, but had to turn back due to heavy enemy fire. Roy decided he was going to do everything in his power to save his fellow soldiers. Without even bothering to retrieve his rifle, Roy jumped into a helicopter and told the pilot to take him to the fight. All he carried with him was a Bowie knife and a medical bag.
Holy shit.
That's why I say he might be some of the inspiration for Rambo, because he went into a firefight with 1,000 NVA soldiers
With a knife.
with a Bowie knife.
And some gauze.
Yeah, a Bowie knife and some Band-Aids. It's like, this is all I need. Something
This
that's...
is all I need. But he's got... Did he have a heavy Mexican accent?
I'm not sure.
Where was he born and raised?
He was born in Texas.
So
he lived in Texas for... His family is actually...
That depends on where, I guess.
His father's side of the family are descendants of the people that founded Benavidez, Texas. There's actually a town in Texas that's named after his family.
Okay. I'm trying to guess what his voice sounded like. So he probably just had a normal Southern accent then.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Was he raised in like a Spanish family, Mexican family?
Yeah. His dad died of tuberculosis when he was really young. I think that he was only somewhere between 1 and 3 years old when his dad died.
Okay.
And then his mom remarried, but a
white man?
I don't know. Remarried somebody.
It's important to know his voice.
I think it's safe to say that he either had a Southern accent or he had a Hispanic accent.
Okay.
One of the two. I'm sure there's video. There's got to be video
or a mixture of
interviews
Southern
of him.
Hispanic, like a twangy Mexican accent. I don't know how you would do that.
I'm not sure either. I'm not even going to try, because that's probably
It's racially insensitive.
That's going to make somebody mad, and we're not doing that drinking game on this episode.
That's right.
That was the Yasuke episode. Yeah. So his dad died from tuberculosis when he was really young. His mom remarried, and then I think just a year or two after she remarried, she died of tuberculosis. And Roy and his younger brother, I think his older brother, they were sent to live with his grandparents and his aunt and uncle. And he was raised alongside like 8 of his cousins. Mm-hmm. He
never got tuberculosis from his parents.
No. So he was raised alongside of his cousins, and at a young age, I think when he was around 15 years old, he ended up dropping out of high school to work full time to help support the family. And he worked, his first job was as a shoe shine, and then he also worked at, I believe it was a local mechanic or a tire factory or something like that. And then when he started working full-time, he became farm labor, and he would work in between California and Washington, working on farms from a very young age.
Oh, up in the weed country.
Yep. I don't think they were growing, I mean, there were some people growing weed back then, but I don't think he was working on any of those farms. Not any of those dirty fucking hippies selling the devil's lettuce. Goddamn beatniks. Draft dodgers.
The devil's lettuce.
Oh, yeah.
What type of weed is that? It's the good shit?
That's the kind you make jazz cigarettes out of. So, yeah, his mom died, dad died, lived with family members, and then as soon as he was old enough to join the military, he joined the Texas Army National Guard, went over for the tail end of the Korean War, and then went full-time or went active duty with the military, and then got sent to Vietnam in 1965, got blown up, came back home, put himself through his own personal form of physical therapy.
Oh, I thought he did the physical therapy in the hospital.
Yeah, well, he got sent home to Fort Sam Houston.
Oh, okay.
And that's where he did the physical therapy. Then he became a Green Beret, went back over to Vietnam, and...
Shit.
So during this firefight, like I said, it was 3 members of his Special Forces unit, and then there were 9 Montagnard tribesmen. And the Montagnards were a tribe of people that lived in the mountains of Vietnam, and they worked very, very closely with the Special Forces during the Vietnam War.
Okay.
And every single account that I have heard about these people, because I've read a few different stories about people that served as Green Berets during the Vietnam War, people that were working with MACV SOG during the Vietnam War. They would train the Montagnards to fight alongside them, and the Montagnards were fucking beasts.
Hell yeah.
Like, they were very smart, they took to the training very well, and they were ballsy as fuck. Like, they would fight just as hard, if not harder, than anybody else. Every single account that I've heard from anybody in MACV SOG, which I actually, a friend in high school, his dad was in MACV SOG, and he had some horrifying stories. Everybody just talks so well about them, about how awesome. they were very brave, very dedicated fighters. Like they were
good at fighting.
Yeah, and they were good at fighting.
All right, so Roy's flying in on the chopper. He's got a knife and Band-Aids. What song is playing?
I wanted to mention something that's sad. I mean, there's a lot of sad stuff about this day, but when one of the choppers came back, there was a 19-year-old door gunner who had been shot multiple times, and that was the first person that Roy tried to help. He ran over, pulled him out of the helicopter, and the guy only had enough time to say a few last words before he bled out and died in Roy's arms.
Fuck.
And that was, I mean, Roy was going to be going back in there anyway, but that kind of lit a fire under his ass. He was like, I'm not letting this happen to anybody else today if there's anything that I can do about it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the members of his special forces team that he was going in to save. He was going in to save the Montagnards also. It's not like he was like, oh, you know, fuck these locals, I'm going to go in and get my boys. It's like, no, these are all my brothers in arms. I'm going to go in and I'm going to get as many of them as I possibly can. So 3 helicopters were sent to extract the men, but had to turn back due to heavy enemy fire. Roy decided he was going to do everything in his power to save his fellow soldiers. Without bothering to retrieve his rifle, I want to restate, he's going into a firefight against an NVA battalion, 1,000 enemy soldiers, and he's just bringing a Bowie knife and a medical bag. Once they arrived on scene...
What song's playing in the chopper as they approach?
Oh, Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater. Okay. I think that's the only song that existed.
Played on loop during that time?
Yeah. I think that in Vietnam, everywhere you went, you heard Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater.
Okay.
Roy didn't even wait for the helicopter to land. He leapt from the still airborne Huey and sprinted into the jungle to find his comrades. Almost immediately, Roy felt a pain in his right leg, which he thought was a thorn bush. In reality, he had just received his first of many gunshot wounds.
Oh, fuck.
So it didn't even slow down. He thought that he just snagged himself on a thorn bush. He had a fucking bullet hole in his leg.
Fuck.
And it's the first of many wounds that he gets on this day. It's much respect to Jack Lucas, because Jack Lucas did some hardcore shit. Jumped on 2 grenades to save his buddies. And he fell out of an airplane later in his life and survived.
Well, technically, he purposely jumped out of an airplane.
Purposely jumped out of an airplane and his parachute failed and he still somehow survived. God damn, there's a reason they call him the Immortal Jack Lucas, but we're going to need to come up with a good nickname for Roy Benavidez. We'll see if we can figure that out at the end of the episode, or maybe some people in the premiere can help us come up with a good nickname for Roy Benavidez.
Roy Rambo Benavidez.
Roy Rambo Benavidez.
Except better than Rambo because he's real.
Yeah, and I don't think that in all of the Rambo movies combined, Sylvester Stallone didn't take as many injuries as Roy Benavidez did. The first soldier Roy found was Staff Sergeant Lloyd Mousseau. He was leaning against a tree firing his rifle despite having one eye dangling from the socket and multiple wounds to his stomach.
Holy shit.
Nearby, Roy found most of the remaining troops all in bad condition. A few Montagnard soldiers had been killed, and every remaining member of the patrol was injured. Roy began dragging them into a more defensible position and gave what medical care he could, which was primarily doling out morphine and trying to stop bleeding where he could.
Morphine and bandaging and trying to stop bleeding.
One member of the team was still unaccounted for, Sergeant First Class Leroy Wright. 3 days earlier...
Leroy Jenkins. No.
Roy Benavidez pulled the Leroy Jenkins, jumped out of the helicopter. Leroy Jenkins!
Saving lives.
3 days earlier, Wright had saved Roy from falling to his death as their helicopter extracted them from a hot landing zone.
Oh, shit.
Alive or dead, Roy was going to find him and bring him home. As he searched the area, Roy spotted Specialist 4 Brian O'Connor, and he motioned for O'Connor to crawl to him. As O'Connor and a Montagnard interpreter crawled towards him, the enemy opened up with more machine gun fire. Roy was once again shot in the thigh, his second gunshot wound of the day, but not the last.
Fuck.
He didn't even go down. He's been hit in the legs twice now.
It's like, fuck it.
Didn't go down. He's still just going.
It's because he doesn't have any feeling from his waist down anymore.
Oh, he feels it, but the pain just gives him more fire.
He's kind of like the Kick-Ass guy. Oh, wait, no, he didn't feel anything.
He can't feel pain,
He still gets all the pain. It's the opposite of that.
Roy is fueled by pain.
Yeah.
Roy popped a smoke grenade to signal the helicopter and guide it to the extraction point. He then carried the men too injured to walk over to the landing zone. As the wounded men climbed into the helicopter, Roy covered them with an AK-47 he had picked off a dead enemy soldier. Then Roy went back into the jungle once again to look for Wright. So he's not even worried about getting out of there. He's like, no, I'm going to go find Leroy Wright.
Did the chopper leave with the two that or is the chopper still waiting?
Well, you'll find out now. A short time
Roy
later...
Paintaker Benavidez.
Roy Paintaker Benavidez. Roy freight trained Benavidez because there was nothing stopping him on that day. A short time later, Roy found the body of his friend Leroy Wright. Even though he was dead, Roy was unwilling to leave him behind, and under intense enemy fire, Roy began dragging Wright back to the extraction point. Before he could reach the helicopter, he was shot in the stomach. So third bullet wound of the day, this time to the stomach.
Fuck.
Then a grenade exploded next to him, and everything went black. So now he's been shot 3 times and blown up.
Blown up again.
With 3 bullet holes and dozens of pieces of shrapnel in his body, Roy woke up to see the smoldering wreckage of the helicopter.
Fuck.
The pilot had been killed before he could extract the wounded men, and the heavy gunfire had set the Huey ablaze. With blood from multiple shrapnel wounds clouding his vision, Roy was forced to leave Wright's body behind and save the men from the wreckage. So the helicopter didn't take off. It was still
down,
landed.
got shot up.
That was something that confused me when I was first reading the account, is them describing the smoldering wreckage. I thought that the helicopter had taken off and then crashed, and I was wondering how the fuck did anybody survive that?
Right.
But there were survivors still in the wreckage.
The explosion was like something blowing up on the chopper?
Yeah, well, the pilot got killed, and then the continued fire set it on fire. So Roy woke up in time to get back and start helping people out of the burning helicopter before any more of them were killed. Roy once again provided morphine to the wounded and organized a perimeter around the crash site. He then called in multiple airstrikes, temporarily silencing the enemy machine gun fire. When the F-100 air cover was forced to leave due to low fuel, the gunfire started again. Roy took yet another bullet in the leg.
Fuck.
So number 4. 3 to the legs, 1 to the stomach. Roy now had 3 bullet holes in his legs, 1 in the stomach, and was covered in shrapnel wounds. Even with all of his injuries...
Roy Bullet Eater Benavidez.
Roy Bullet Eater Benavidez. Personally, I would just call him Sir.
Yeah, I mean, I would too. Roy, get to the chopper, Benavidez.
Dude, he has a one-liner coming up later, like a confirmed one-liner, something that he said during this battle.
Yeah.
Badass as fuck.
Fuck yeah.
Like something out of a movie. Fucking
Hell
badass. Yeah. Even with all of his injuries, when another helicopter approached to extract the wounded, he carried injured men to the new extraction point. The enemy fire was so intense, 2 more Montagnards died from gunshots to the back as they crawled towards the landing zone.
Fuck.
Before the newly arriving helicopter could set down and rescue the injured soldiers, it too was shot down. Amazingly, the crew survived and were forced to join the perimeter to help defend the position. 1 last helicopter was sent to rescue the soldiers. It's eventually going to get to a point where the brass is going to call off the rescue efforts.
We're losing $1 million choppers here.
Yeah, and I mean that's fucked up, but that's the type of shit that they would do. Be like, oh, it's gonna cost more money replacing the helicopters than it's gonna cost us to, send some folded flags home to the family members. So fuck it. War is hell.
Roy, send another chopper, Benavidez.
Roy, I don't give a fuck about your helicopters, Benavidez.
Keep sending them.
Another helicopter arrived, and Roy shouted to the injured men around him, quote, "You can either crawl, walk, or drag yourself, but this is the last bird out of here."
Fuck.
He then hoisted Mousseau onto his shoulders and began making his way to the landing zone. So his buddy Mousseau, the guy who had the eyeball shot out of his head,
yeah,
now he's got him draped across his shoulders, and he's running back to the landing zone to try to get his buddy out of there.
That's a good line, dude.
Yeah, that's a really fucking good line. But I mean, just imagine the intensity of the machine gun fire. They're up against 1,000 NVA soldiers, and the NVA a standing army.
Yeah.
The Viet Cong were a guerrilla force, so they would be closer to, like the insurgents that we faced in Iraq and Afghanistan. The NVA was a professional army. They weren't as well funded as the American army was. They weren't necessarily...
Goddamn right.
I don't want to say they weren't as well trained because they still knew their jobs. They had...
And they know their country.
They know their country. They know their jobs. They have superior numbers. They're not as technologically advanced. America had more...
They were obviously a little scared because they could have just bum rushed them and killed them all.
Oh, they do, but when they do it, they're getting shot.
Yeah.
But they'll keep coming.
Yeah.
The NVA were very, very, very fierce fighters. I mean, they kicked out the French before America even showed up. And I mean, honestly,
the French.
Well, yeah.
Just
I mean,
kidding.
the up until World War II, the French were something to respect. But no, I'll spend all day talking shit about French people, but I say it lovingly. I know that the French lost a lot of good soldiers during World War II.
Exactly. I don't know shit about the French.
Modern France. Well, yeah, I don't want to get into that.
Isn't there like some shit going on there right now? Like some
Yeah,
internal.
They're saying that there could possibly be some form of civil war or coup. I mean, they're kind of suffering through the same bullshit that we're going through right now, where they've got a lot of division in their country because of Soviet mind games. Look it up. The Soviets planted agents in our academic system. That's what's leading to a lot of this bullshit right now. We got a bunch of fucking Marxist college professors. I could go on about that too, but it just makes me so fucking angry.
We'll do an episode about something about that. Once we have a nice handful of one-offs to please the bosses, we got to do a series on like one of the world wars.
So if we did a series, like I do want to talk about World War I and World War II, but I want to handle it pretty much in the way that we handled the Jack Lucas story, where it's a series of vignettes, not all one after the other.
They'd all be one-offs, but all in different people in World War I or World War II, or different topics. But
because these Medal of Honor stories, these obviously focus on American soldiers, but I do want to talk about Leo Major, who is a Brit, and Leo Major's story is fucking insane. I've talked to you about it a little bit, where he single-handedly captured a village from the Germans by himself, captured an entire village from the Germans on his own, and just went on a one-man rampage over the course of one night.
Fuck.
And the reason that he did it is because he didn't want the village to get wiped out, because if the Germans stayed there, it was going to be carpet bombed and hit by a bunch of artillery. So he was like, okay, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to get these fucking Germans out of here myself. And he ended up actually meeting up with the commander of the German forces in the village, got the drop on him, took him hostage, took his gun away from him. This is after he had already been on a rampage for a couple hours.
Yeah.
He took the German commander hostage, took his pistol away from him. He was like, look, if you don't get the fuck out of here, this place is going to be leveled tomorrow morning with artillery and airstrikes. So you need to get your men and get the fuck out.
Yeah. He could speak German?
Yeah. And the German officer, either he could speak German, which I wouldn't be surprised if he could, or the German officer was able to speak English. We'll figure out the details for the episode.
Yeah.
But the German officer was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We'll get out of here. He's like, cool. Gives the guy back his pistol.
Fuck.
Yeah. Dude, Leo Major was a ballsy motherfucker.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be a good episode. But we will do more episodes on World War I, World War II. I want to do Sergeant Tom York. He's a Medal of Honor recipient from World War I believe. But there's a lot of people
during those wars we could talk about that did some fucked up shit too.
Oh yeah.
Like it'd be cool to be going back and forth, right? Like we
I do
praise this guy. This guy was fucking evil.
I do want to talk about the massacre at I've heard it pronounced both ways. It's either My Lai or My Lai. or it's maybe some combination of the two. There was a pretty bad massacre that happened there that was carried out by U.S. forces. Melikilikimaka.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's a Hawaiian way to say Merry Christmas, right? Something like that.
Sure. The Merry Christmas Massacre.
I love America and I am a patriot, but we've done fucked up shit. Every country's done fucked up shit. America has committed war crimes the same way that other countries have committed war crimes. Some countries have committed, like the rape of Nanking, which I would say is quite a bit worse than anything America's ever done. But war is fought by humans, and humans are very messy and complicated and emotional creatures that are capable of. I mean, I've said this before.
Capable of anything.
The minds that built the V2 rocket also took us to the moon.
Yeah.
So yeah, humanity is capable of absolutely anything. It doesn't objectively make us good or bad.
Germans?
Cyberdyne Systems. No, that's the. I think you were talking about the Gatling gun. That was invented by a guy who, surprisingly, his last name was Gatling. I can't remember his first name off the top of my head.
Arnold.
But yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger Gatling. That was developed during the
Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
That's the crank one.
Yeah, and the reason that weapon was invented was because the inventor thought, okay, if I create something that is just so devastatingly destructive and lethal, it'll make war obsolete and we'll never have to fight a war again.
Not the case.
But no, if you give people a tool that'll let you kill other people more efficiently, it's going to be used to efficiently kill people.
Yep.
Because humans are complicated, emotional creatures.
You know what else was invented in the Civil War? Rocket launchers.
I actually think that rockets were around before the Civil War.
Are you sure? Because
I think rockets have been around like since before the Revolutionary War. China was using them for a long time.
Okay, I think it was rockets though, or maybe it's a certain type of rocket launcher. I just remember when I was doing research for that script I was writing about that takes place during the Civil War. Mm-hmm. They had rocket launchers, and I was pretty sure they had just made them. Maybe it was the version that they had. Yeah, they were super inaccurate. They couldn't even use them.
They were
made handheld.
They were almost just as dangerous to the people using them as they were to the enemy.
Yeah, like
so
literally,
they weren't very effective.
Made to be handheld. Maybe that was the first time, because before that they would be like in riggings or like cannons on wheels, and handheld rocket you could fire it forward. Sometimes it'll go forward. Sometimes it'll spin in the air and go behind you. Like. The rockets themselves weren't accurate at all. So what they would do is they ended up like putting like 20 at a time on cannon wheels and just like using them as giant distraction tools.
And they would have to do it in a manner where pretty much the same way that they had to use muskets historically, because they were so inaccurate, you had to use volley fire, which meant you were pretty much turning a huge line of soldiers into a giant shotgun. Yeah. Because if you fire enough rounds, something's going to hit somebody.
Yeah.
There were some, they were able to make some that were, in terms of, well, I guess they wouldn't technically be muskets anymore, but once they developed rifling, that's when sniping actually became a viable option. I don't remember what general it was. I believe that it was during the Civil War. It might have been the Revolutionary War, but there was an officer sitting on horseback while they were taking fire from a really, really distant position. And everybody was telling the officer, like, you need to get behind cover. He's like, what? They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn from here, and then got shot right in the face by a sniper.
Doing more topics on the Civil War would be fun.
Yeah, Civil War would be a good awesome. One. I mean, Revolutionary War would also be a pretty interesting one, because I don't know if, among our listeners, I'm sure that a lot of people are aware of this. George Washington was a shit general. He lost the
George Washington episode would be good.
He lost the majority of the engagements that he was in.
Crazy.
So yeah, not the best military.
He had wooden
commander.
teeth, right?
No, he had a combination of dead people's teeth, and I think he had some teeth made out of hippo ivory. No wooden teeth though.
Oh.
That is, as far as I know, no wooden teeth. That's the myth about him. Also, never chopped down a cherry tree. That was bullshit. Abraham Lincoln did Abraham Lincoln was actually born in a log cabin that he helped build himself, though. That's a true story.
Oh, that's cool.
Everybody is a piece of shit to one degree or another. That's one of the things
Except for
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Rogers. I got to say that he's
the only non-piece of shit.
I have actively tried to dig up dirt on him to try to find some skeleton in his closet, because I've believed for a long time that like he's one of the purest and kindest people to have lived in modern times, for sure. Because even Mother Teresa was a piece of shit. We're going to be doing an episode on her. She was an atheist by the time she died.
Whoa.
And she had her care homes, her like hospices and free hospitals that were all over the place. They were baptizing people against their will while they were on their deathbed and tricking people into getting baptized.
Well, she believed, right? If you don't get baptized, you don't go to heaven.
At the end, she didn't.
But so that's why they were doing it, because they thought they were helping.
Going through the motion. She's like, better safe than sorry. I don't believe that God exists, but just in case.
In case he does.
Yeah, Agnes Gongsa Bojakshu.
What's your favorite baptism?
Is her real name.
Agnes?
Mother Teresa's real name is Agnes Gongsa Bojakshu.
I wouldn't trust her then.
Yeah, you can't trust anybody.
What's your favorite baptism you've ever seen? Like seeing a baptism happen. I've seen a few. What's your favorite one you've seen? Because I have a favorite.
I don't know. Belladonna had some pretty good baptisms. Riley Reid takes them pretty well.
My favorite.
Oh, sorry, I'm mixing up bukkake and baptism. They both start with a B.
Yeah.
No, I can't think of
my favorite baptism is from Nacho Libre. It's a forced baptism also.
Oh, it comes up behind him and
yeah, I forget what he said. That. It's so fucking.
That's what Mother Teresa's nuns were doing in their
saving
care
lives,
homes. But much less funny.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about somebody who was baptized by fire.
Yes.
So when we last left off, Roy had been shot 3 times.
Roy gave his one-liner.
Yeah, he gave his one-liner. He's been shot 3 times in the legs, once in the stomach. The one-liner is, you can either crawl, walk, or drag yourself, but this is the last bird out of here. So Roy picks up his friend Musso, who was the one who had been shot in the face and in the stomach. Well, he had been shot in the face and it knocked out one of his eyes. So one of his eyes is hanging out of the socket. And he either took bullet wounds or shrapnel wounds to the stomach. Roy gave him a bunch of morphine because he was obviously in a shit ton of pain. So now at this point, Musso's riding high on that dragon. He's riding. Well, not the H train, but yeah, he's train.
Might as well be the H
train spotting levels of fucked up at this point. If I were in that situation, even if I wasn't wounded, I'd be like, fuck it, give me some morphine. So Roy's carrying Musso back to the final helicopter that's come in to extract everyone. As Roy
Musso's the one with the eye?
Yeah, Musso's the one that had so there was Leroy Wright, who was his friend that saved him from falling out of a helicopter.
Yeah.
But Wright has been killed at this point.
He had to leave that body behind.
Yeah, O'Connor is one of the other Green Berets, and then Musso is the third Green Beret. As Roy was carrying Musso, an enemy soldier charged at him, slashing his arm open with a bayonet. The NVA then hit Roy in the head with the butt of his rifle so hard it forced him to drop Musso. So he's still carrying this guy. He gets slashed in the arm and hit in the head with the butt of a rifle with no other weapon at hand. So I kind of contracted this moment a little bit, but from my understanding, the timeline is different from all of the
top of them.
Yeah. But also the timeline of these events is a little bit different with every source that I've read. So there was one source that talked about this like it happened around the time of the second chopper, the one that was shot down and the helicopter crew had to help form a perimeter. Most of the sources pointed towards this happening right at the tail end of the engagement. So that's where I put it. But the NVA soldier ran up, slashed Roy's arm with his bayonet, and then hit Roy in the head with the butt of his rifle, and that made him drop Musso on the ground. Musso still had his weapon, and Roy's wrestling with this guy, and he's shouting at Musso to shoot him. But Musso is so fucked up on morphine and loss of blood because, I mean, he's got his eye blown out of his head. He's got multiple wounds to the stomach. Fucked up on morphine. Like, there's not much Musso can do at this point. Even for a Green Beret, he's not Roy Benavidez, so he's not going to be able to do much.
And was the eyeball
at that point.
gone or was it hanging?
It was hanging.
So when he closes the one eye on morphine, he's looking down at the
ground. He's looking down. He's probably dizzy as fuck from that, too.
Yeah, might be weird.
That's like some kind of
That's a mind fuck.
Yeah, that's some body horror shit right there. That kind of made my stomach turn when I was first reading about that. And when Roy first finds him, he's still on his feet, leaning up against a tree, shooting his rifle
with his eyeball
hanging out. Yeah, I mean these guys are
tough motherfuckers.
Yeah, they're made from a different material. So Roy gets in a fight with this NVA soldier who slashed him with a bayonet, hit him with the butt of his rifle. He's wrestling with him, and he's shouting to Musso to shoot him. But Musso's too fucked up and injured to shoot him. So Roy pulls out his Bowie knife that he brought with him and just goes Rambo on his ass and stabs the motherfucker to death.
Fuck.
With no other weapon at hand, Roy drew his knife, tackled the enemy soldier, and then stabbed him to death. Roy then grabbed the AK-47 from the dead NVA and killed 2 other enemy soldiers who were charging towards the helicopter. Delirious from blood loss and likely 2 concussions, Roy began to load the dead and injured troops onto the helicopter. So even after all of that,
still going.
He's still totally focused on all of his injured teammates, all of his injured friends.
Saving
That's
the boys.
Priority number 1 for him. He has been shot to pieces and blown up at this point, but he's one of the most injured people there now, and he's still just fucking
Still going, yeah.
Once there were no men left to extract, well, actually, one thing I want to add is, so I've heard 2 different interpretations of this. There were, I believe, 2 dead NVA that were loaded onto the helicopter also. I've heard one interpretation saying that Roy was so delirious at that point that he was just grabbing bodies and loading them onto the helicopter, and there was dead NVA on the ground around the helicopter, and he just grabbed them and loaded them on because he thought he was loading friendly troops on.
Yeah.
I've also heard another interpretation that said, which the interpretation that's in his Medal of Honor citation says that he did that because he noticed that they might be officers and they might have intel. So he might have been doing that where he's like, okay, these guys might have some stuff that'll help us out in the future. I'm going to bring them along so we can search them when we get back to the base. I think that either one is equally believable, that either he was so delirious that he was just grabbing anybody laying on the ground nearby. He didn't want to leave anyone behind. So he's grabbing anybody that's on the ground nearby and loading them onto the helicopter. It's also badass to think that he had that much clarity where he's like, these guys might have intel. Let's bring them too.
Fuck.
It's both bad. Either way, it's badass.
Or they were wounded too, and he was like, these guys need to be saved also.
He's like, fuck it. I'm not letting anybody else die today. Or he's like, I'm going to kill these 2 later.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I
could see the delirium.
Yeah,
you're just
being
in the
delirious,
zone. You're focused on one thing, or else you're gonna probably lose your mind and fall on the ground crying.
He is fully running on autopilot at this point because with the amount of injuries that he's taken, as exhausted as he must have been, because this is a 6-hour-long engagement that he was in. So this is like at the tail end of 6 hours. He's been bleeding. He's been injured. He
shot 4 times.
Definitely has to have had. He's definitely gotten at least 1 concussion because the grenade that went off knocked him out. So that had to have given him a concussion. And then the butt of the rifle to the head very easily could have given him another concussion. He's got to be delirious to a certain degree. So I would think that the more likely story is he's on autopilot. He's like, hurt and dead people go on the helicopter.
Helicopter.
That guy's either hurt or dead, he goes on the helicopter. That guy's either hurt or dead, he goes on the helicopter. Not even looking at the uniforms or anything like that. It's like it's close to the helicopter, it's going on the helicopter.
He forgot what side he was on. He all of a sudden in his mind he was back in his undercover outfit. He's like,
just fucking
maybe they're undercover. Everybody. He's undercover. Grabbed him and threw him.
Yeah. It's like, all right. I remember when I almost died wearing an enemy uniform, so who knows? Yeah. At this point, it could be fucking anybody.
Yeah, I guess it could be both ways. The other option is he was like, "Fuck these fuckers. We're going to torture these bastards later."
Yeah,
Get some
well,
intel.
I think that they were definitely either unconscious or dead. So Roy doesn't really strike. He's definitely a fighter. He can definitely kill when necessary, but his whole goal that day was to save as many lives as possible.
Right.
So I think that in his mind, he was not going to leave anybody behind. And there was a body covered in blood next to him, and he was like, "All right, you're going on the chopper. You're going on the chopper. You're going on the chopper." Once there were no men left to extract, Roy climbed into the helicopter, where his intestines spilled through the bullet hole in his stomach, and he collapsed.
Fuck.
After 6 hours in hell, Roy Benavidez died. 30 years later, at the age of 63.
Oh, you got me. I was like, no!
After collapsing on the helicopter, Roy was taken back to a nearby base. He had been shot and blown up so many times, it's no surprise the doctors assumed he was dead. Roy woke to the sound of the medics zipping his body bag shut, but he was far too weak to move or say anything. Roy mustered all of his remaining strength and did the only thing he could. He spit in the doctor's face. And the doctor said, "Looks like this one still has some fight left in him."
Holy shit.
And he lived for 30 more fucking years after that.
Okay, that is the only scenario where I would be okay with getting spit in the face. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that wasn't even disrespectful.
Well, that or during sex.
No, that's different. Yeah.
That's more in the mouth.
Okay. Whatever you're into, Coop.
I never said I was into that. I was just saying that's the only other acceptable time. So anyway, yeah. Roy Benavidez.
Yeah,
went
what
on
a
to
G.
live 30 more years. Died at the age of, 63? Yeah. Went on to live to 63. And I love that. So he's in the fucking body bag. His pulse is so weak that it's not even registering. He has so many wounds that the medics are even thinking like, this guy's obviously fucking, his intestines are hanging out. He's covered in shrapnel. He's got bullet holes all over the place. His arms
Could you
slashed
imagine getting
open.
put in that body bag? And you're like barely conscious, but you know that's what's happening? That'd be weird too.
And yeah,
Like that.
he said that it was the sound of the body bag being zipped up that woke him up. So you wake up, and he thought that he was dead. When he heard the body bag getting zipped up, he was like, oh, I'm dead.
I'm dead.
I'm being put in a body bag right now. But then his last act of defiance, he's like, fuck you.
I'm alive.
Spit in the doctor's face, and that's what, that's honestly what ultimately saved his life. Is if he would have shown no signs of life, he would have
died in the bag.
suffocated in the body bag, or just continued bleeding out from God knows how many wounds he's got.
I hope that's true that he spit in his face in the body bag.
It is.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, that all of that part, that's all corroborated evidence.
Yeah, the doctor's like, it's fucking true. He spit in my face. I was there.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was mostly blood, but he still spit it in my face.
probably spit and like teeth came out too.
Yeah. He was holding his friend's eyeball in his mouth. Spit an eyeball in his face.
Give this back to Musso.
Yeah.
But yeah, so something else that I left out earlier is I believe Leroy Wright was left behind because from all the accounts that I found, Roy made after he got blown up by the grenade and had to leave Wright behind, he went back one more time to gather all of the sensitive intel that Wright had on his body to destroy it so it wouldn't fall into enemy hands. But he was so fucked up at that point that he wasn't going to be able to make another run dragging somebody back to the helicopter.
Well, someone who's barely alive can still kind of help you too. Like,
yeah,
fully limp bodies.
Yeah, and
really hard to carry.
And if he wasn't back there at the extraction point, there wasn't many other people that could help everybody else get on the helicopter. So
everybody was fucking wounded.
He knew that there was nothing that he was going to be able to do for Wright at that point, but he wasn't about to let the intel fall into enemy hands because that's going to put other soldiers' lives at risk.
Shit later.
So he made sure to destroy the intel and then went back and started loading people on the helicopter.
Did they ever go back for the bodies?
Yeah, I'm sure they did. It was still to this day, it's uncommon that a lot of effort isn't put into recovering the bodies of soldiers that have been left behind, living or dead. That's kind of a rule in the military, is you don't leave anybody behind.
Yeah.
Which I have a lot of respect for.
That's awesome.
Even if you die in combat, they're not going to leave you there. They're going to go through hell to go back and even just recover your body and bring your body home. And that's one of the many reasons that I have so much love for the military. Is it's a dirty job, it's a hard job, it's a very brutal profession to be in, but there is an astounding amount of love in the military.
Yeah.
Between the people that have fought together, that the person on your left and the person on your right will go through anything for you.
Right.
And that's something that you don't find in many other places outside of the military. Like, you have to have a really strong and like lifelong friendship with somebody to be able to find that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Or
a really close family that's tough as shit.
Yeah.
I guess that's what the military is.
Yeah, the armed forces is
people,
it's a lot like a family. I mean, and just like any family, it's got its problems. It's a dysfunctional family, like most families are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the connection that brothers and sisters in arms have between each other is stronger than you'll find in most other places.
Yep.
So, cheers to the fucking U.S. military. They get a lot of hate, but
and to Roy
Benavidez and to the U.S. military, we
love you.
We appreciate all of you. All right. Well, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Iconoblast Podcast, at Joel R. Benner, at Coop Nukem. That's where you're going to get all the updates on when we're having our premieres, when new episodes are coming out. We repost anything that people post about us. We always have a good time seeing the stories that people post about us. And we really, really appreciate all the interaction that we've been getting from the listeners, either through the YouTube premieres, which you can check out our premieres every Monday night, except this past Monday, we took the day off for Memorial Day.
Yeah. We still went out on Tuesday, but yeah.
Yeah, the episode still came out the next day, but we didn't feel right releasing an episode on Memorial Day because that wasn't the purpose of the day. So yeah, check out the Drinkin' Bros History channel. That's where you can watch our premieres every Monday night, except for on Memorial Day. And also check out Softcore History. They're on the
same channel.
Drinkin' Bros History channel. Their last episode. Well, this episode's actually going to be coming out a couple weeks from when we record it, because you've got a big trip coming up.
Yep.
You're going to
I believe tomorrow morning
Macedonia, right?
Going back to North Macedonia.
Going back to see the lady?
Going to see the lady, yeah.
Yeah, it should be fun. Yeah. So I'm not sure what episode is going to be out from Softcore History by the time this episode releases, but at the time of us recording this episode, they did an episode about, I think it was Topsy, an elephant that...
Yeah, I switched for that.
An elephant that Thomas Edison electrocuted to death, because Thomas Edison was a piece of shit that we'll be doing an episode on.
Also, an elephant that started Hollywood.
I saw that. I haven't watched that episode. I'm going to need to watch it or listen to it, because that part I didn't know about.
It's one of the very first things ever filmed, and it was a popular video. They played it in theaters and shit. And
Thomas Edison.
People, the reaction to the video, no reaction to it watching an elephant be killed. The reactions was just amazed that there was moving pictures.
Holy shit, moving pictures.
It's moving.
Fuck that elephant, but moving pictures.
But yeah, it's like the conversations after watching an elephant be electrocuted, hung, and poisoned all at once was, how cool. It's a moving picture.
We're living in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thomas Edison.
Same guy that filmed.
Thomas Edison owns the copyright on a film of Le Pétomane.
Yeah, I told them that after when they finished their show. They didn't know. Yeah, Le Pétomane. What's his real name?
Joseph Pujol.
Joseph Pujol.
Good old Joseph Pujol.
Yeah, I feel bad for his assistant.
Yeah, we haven't done the assistant story yet.
Yeah, that's another document.
Another long lost document that Joel uncovered about the assistant to Joseph the Pétamin Pujol.
Yeah.
So we'll read that on one of the upcoming episodes since we're talking about it.
It's
now.
a long one. It might be a bonus.
Maybe we'll do that as a standalone bonus.
That could be the first story time with Coop Iconoblast episode.
Yeah, let's do it that way. That could be fun. All right, well, that's it for this episode. Remember, check us out on Instagram, check us out on YouTube. Like, rate, subscribe, review, do all that good shit.
Dude, the reviews on iTunes, have you been reading them lately?
I haven't checked them recently, but
we should start posting those. Some of them are really fucking funny.
We can start reading them on the show. That'd be fun.
Yeah. That'd be good.
So yeah, join us again next week when we talk about, I don't know what yet, but I'll figure it out. This has been the Iconoblast Podcast. My name is Matt Cooper.
Joel Benner.
Reminding you to never take anything at face value.